Once upon a time, Haley Woods was seeking and couldn't quite find an online community of like-minded, travel-loving women. So in the spirit of being the change she wished to see in the world, she started the group Girls Love Travel with a grand total of 30 members, who began, in her words, sharing all of our travel tidbits and tales. That was 2015. Fast forward to the present, and the community she founded has grown to an amazing 1.4 million members, many of whom have now met up all over the globe. On any given day, they might post to Facebook about the fastest way to renew a passport, the most effective remedy for altitude sickness, the merits of a flying dress photo shoot, or the best ways to handle in-laws who frown upon solo travel adventures. The collective caring, knowledge, and wisdom is truly incalculable, so we feel lucky to be speaking with the woman who started it all. Haley Woods, welcome to Well Traveled with AAA.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you so much. Hi.
My pleasure. We weren't kidding about feeling lucky to have tracked you down for today's episode. You are a woman on the move. Could you give our listeners just the rundown of where you've been in the last little while?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just recently, a couple weeks ago, I was in Japan where I was able to successfully climb Mount Fuji and go on to Tokyo Disneyland and Disney Sea. And then following that, just shortly after, I was able to go to Australia and see the World Cup. And then I'm getting ready in a couple of days to skip off to Greece and Turkey, and we'll be there for most of the rest of the month.
Amazing. And congratulations.
Thank you. It's been fun. And it's a nice myriad of things too, from relaxing to sporty to adventurous to now going to be cruising on a cruise ship. So it's a lot of myriad of travels.
Absolutely. And what made you think there should be this kind of a group just for women?
So back whenever I first originated this at the end of 2015, I was presently traveling nomadically myself. I was working, doing promotion event marketing, going all over the United States for my clients, and I was living in hotels and using the hotel points. I actually didn't have a place of residence and fully was nomadic and would use my hotel points that I accrued from work. And in between contracts, I would go and stay in hotels internationally and save money that way too. So I haven't had a real bona fide place of residence since like 2011, I think at this point. So while I was doing that, years went by and I was starting to realize that as much as I love all the travel that I was doing, it was becoming increasingly difficult to build friendships. Now, I was easily amused with having what I was calling first date friendships, those kind where you're answering the same questions and you're meeting people for a moment and you don't know if your paths will meet again. But it was starting to get a little lonely. Mm-hmm. And I turned to Facebook for what I think still to this day Facebook is best for, which is to connect others. And there was the buildup of Facebook groups. And I was seeing Facebook groups for female-focused communities that people would talk about things around the house or maybe their favorite television show or how to take care of the kids or all of that kind of stuff that didn't really appeal to me. And I would make posts in them about travel, but then the posts would get pushed down by all the other content. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to one of the administrators of that group. And back then there was only admins and members. There's been such an evolve over Facebook and Facebook platform in the years since, but it was just admins and members. And I asked if they were ever interested in making sort of an additional group, what a lot of people call a subgroup now, talking about travel. And they were so kind and so sweet and saying, no, we don't have sort of the bandwidth. They don't have the ability or space to be able to add that to their roster. But, if I was to ever do it, just be mindful that it does take a lot of time and a lot of energy. And a lot of people will start up a Facebook group thinking it's just this fun little thing, which it is, but it does take a lot of work. And I was getting ready to start another career path with some of the marketing I was doing, and I didn't have the time for it. But once that contract was over and this was still in my mind, mm-hmm. then I just decided to go for it. And never did I think it was going to grow to be this. Right. But I'm very thankful that it has.
If you're interested in unique travel experiences, AAA travel agents can help you find the best experience for you. They'll make sure you're getting the best value, exclusive AAA member benefits, and up-to-date travel information to help you plan your dream vacation. Visit AAA.com/travel to connect with a AAA travel agent. Well, could you share with our listeners, just to blow their minds, how many posts are now submitted to your Facebook group just on a slow day?
So it's very crazy. And this is one of those things that whenever I even hand anybody my phone, they want to immediately hand the phone back to me due to all the notifications that I get at all times.
Right.
And it's actually slowed down since the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were averaging 1,000 new members every single day without any advertisements. And we were getting one new post almost every minute of every day being submitted.
Wow.
It was, a lot. It's still a lot to this day, but we average probably about half that with having about 500 to 700 posts per day.
Amazing.
And
Absolutely.
yeah. And we have volunteer moderators that look at all of them to review and make sure that they uphold the standards of our community before going in front of everyone.
Right. And this could be anything from moms looking for recommendations for the best travel strollers to like, how do I get through an 18-hour flight, right?
Absolutely. It'll be what's the best way to pack for a trip to Greece? Or it might be what are some hidden gems and asking for a local perspective, which is some of my favorite things. And then there'll be a lot of recap stories like I just went to this place and here's what I found that's off the beaten path, or here's what I found that you can't just find online. And those are some of the best, because really the best is whenever you find out from a local that if you go down that street just a little bit longer, that you'll find this restaurant that so and so owns, and you got to tell them hi for me and have this. And it's just like, it gives me goosebumps because it makes this insanely large world that we're living in feel so connected and so small.
Sure. And the community is also there to inspire and support travelers and would-be travelers. And I know that includes an exploration of some of the fears that hold women back. And that could be anything from body dysmorphia to anxiety about getting on an airplane. So do you wind up hearing about people's triumphs over these kinds of issues? And if so, could you share any of the most inspiring stories?
Absolutely. I think that it's a real spectrum. It's a real journey that we go on with so many of our members. It'll be from that anxiety and that anticipation and that salivating over what's going to happen, precursor to a trip, to them being on the trip and asking for the suggestions of maybe other things that they could be doing. Something might have fallen through or what have you, and wanting to make it even better of an experience for them. And then we additionally will get the recap after of somebody just cheering over the fact that they did it. Some of my favorite adventures that I see and posts in the community are from people that have never ventured internationally before, no matter where they are based in the world, being able to go out and step beyond their comfort zone. Those have been really just, they lift everyone's spirits, and we're always cheering for them. But I got to say that just as equally, we cheer for the ones of those who have expressed that due to work constraints, due to financial constraints, we empower women to understand that it doesn't mean that you have to travel to the other side of the world for you to be traveling. You could still go to a city nearby, or go, and rent an Airbnb, or maybe do an experience and be a tourist in your own town. And those can be just as travel focused and travel fulfilling as going and spending thousands of dollars and venturing around the world. And by doing that, it starts to open up that childlike wonderment again, and that excitement over travel, and that evolves the person into doing something more. And those have really been a journey as well.
Right. Well, and it seems that the good vibes that these women direct towards one another through this group also extend to the communities that Girls Love Travel visits. So What are some of your favorite examples of how your members have moved appreciatively and respectfully through the world?
Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean, one of our biggest things is definitely, as much as we like to take photographs everywhere, we want to leave only footprints. You know, we want to leave a location better than we even found it, but we don't want to impose ourselves on a location. And we're not going in and doing any kind of voluntourism. We're not doing any appropriation, that we're making sure that we're appreciating an experience, but we're not imposing upon it. And especially, like, for instance, with the Day of the Dead experience, we went and embarked on going to some of the funeral opportunities of seeing where the celebrations truly were taking place for people of that community. But it was very much discussed in written form and discussed in person, and reminded again that this is not a time for us to, you know, be taking photos unless you're asking. It's not a time to be dressing up or putting on makeup that are seen in a lot of photos about these celebrations, because you're there as a visitor. One of the things that was great too for that trip is that when we went in there, the area that we went, the burial site and funeral area that we went, it's really amazing how they present. Because, I mean, I grew up in Upper East Tennessee. We didn't really talk about death and passing, and to be in a cultural immersive experience where this is highlighted and just discussed in such a wonderful way, it really changed me and changed many of the women that were on the trip with me. But we were there and we were presented with the opportunity to take some flowers and candles and things that are usually put upon these burial sites. And each of us went around to one that did not have additional persons celebrating,
Oh,
and were able to give to, you know, a site that didn't have the additional floral and fauna that all the others had.
right.
And it was, you know, it was very touching, and it was a great way for us to connect. And later, away from that cityscape of people that do this every year, in the rented Airbnb, the company that we were aligned with had rented, we were able to make our own altar and our own presentation and share with each other on the trip about a person that's passed from our lives, and be able to connect with each other. And there's ways that you can do this where you can learn about a culture and take it in your own space, so that you are learning, encouraging, taking from it, and being able to use it in your own life without affecting in a negative way
Right.
them, and taking away from the experience that the people are trying to enjoy themselves.
Getting ready to travel? Make sure you and your travel investment are protected with travel insurance, so you can do more and worry less. For more information, visit AAA.com/travel insurance. Is it true that your members have also been known to give gifts of gratitude to people in the travel and hospitality world?
So much so. Yeah, that's so sweet. It's so wonderful how great that just spreading joy really is electrified and immensely just well received. We have so many people in the travel industry in our community from all different types of scopes, but one of the main people that we have in our community are the flight attendants. And we just realized that there was a lot of discussion. This started to happen years ago, that we were in discussion that there were all those articles of flight attendants being verbally assaulted, being physically assaulted, being reprimanded when they were just trying to do their job. And we were talking about it a lot in our community. And I don't know how it just kind of started, but it just started organically by us giving appreciation in our community. And then it moved into giving gifts of gratitude, which would be like a Starbucks gift card, or just a handwritten note that says thank you, or maybe a bag of chocolates or something like that, to the flight attendants that you're going on your journey. And oftentimes whenever I do it, it'll be a handwritten note that's like 2 sentences long, maybe 3, that'll say, generally speaking, it'll be something like, thank you for doing the job that you do. We don't think that you get thanked enough, but we wouldn't be able to travel the world without what you do. Something like that, just to give back and let people know. Because time and time again, no matter what industry you're in, if you do anything that's customer focused and customer facing, often it's the negativity that people are
Right.
commenting on. Often it's, complaints and let me speak to your manager and all of that kind of stuff. And, we're so privileged and we're so thankful and we're so appreciative of being able to go and explore the world that it just takes a moment to write a note. You don't even have to pay anything else. You don't have to buy anything, but just
Right.
to write a note and just say thank you. You are appreciated.
Right. And I know you have discovered members literally all over the world, right down to a post office in Antarctica.
Yeah.
What have been some of your favorite stories of discovering Girls Love Travel members and the connections that are made as a result?
I am so glad that you asked this because it's hilarious, the timing of having this interview with you, because when I was just recently in Australia, I was up on like the third level watching the Sydney, watching the World Cup.
Uh-huh.
And I was making a post into the Girls of Travel community where I was talking about maybe potentially meeting up with somebody and having an opportunity to meet up with others in the Sydney area. And I pressed send, and I'm sitting there, and my girlfriend that was with me, she had stepped away at concessions. It was halftime. So there was like a seat next to me open. And then there was another girl and another girl after that. And this girl that was like, one empty seat away from me, she looked me up and down, and she looked at the lanyard on my phone that says Girls Love Travel. And she looked back at me and she goes, I think I just responded to your post. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And sure enough, Lauren O'Brien and her wife are sitting. And she's a Girls Love Travel member. It's like one seat away from me. I had just commented. She had just commented. And like, we were blown away.
Oh, that is amazing.
Chills. Like, it's so crazy. And so we ended up meeting up with her and her wife for like a couple other times while we were in Australia. And just every single time we just laughed and just could not believe the happenstance of how we were right there. And then just a couple weeks before that, I was really fortunate to go to the Taylor Swift concert up in Seattle. And it's, some of the musicians are on and playing before Taylor comes out, and I'm up dancing a little bit, having a good time. And I get a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and this girl apparently had walked about, 12 or 13 seats over from us. And she asked me if I was Haley from Girls Love Travel. And I'm like, yeah, hi. And it turns out she's a GLTer too that had just seen me, and she recognized that what I said that I was going to wear from a post.
Wow.
So it's just like insane. And it's become one of those things that like every single time I'm amazed and dumbfounded and blessed and fortunate. And I just absolutely love it. And I just can't believe it, because I could be on the other side of the world, or I could be at a concert just a few hours away, or whatever. I could be all the way, taking a trip to Antarctica and meeting somebody. And we're just everywhere. There was a post recently. This is so crazy. There was a post recently in the community that there is a GLTer who went to space. And her name is Haley. And in 2021, she was chosen to be one of only a couple of people on the first ever it was like the first ever commercial type flight where nobody was affiliated with like NASA and stuff. And they did a Netflix documentary about her and this flight too. And she's written a book about it and everything. And here she is posting pictures back in the group saying that, it's pictures of her with Earth behind her and saying that she's been in GLT for a number of years. And she just wanted to chime in again and just say that, GLT has been outside of Earth as well as in. So
wow. And is she one of your Tattoo bearing members. I know there are such hardcore members that they get Girls Love Travel tattoos.
Yeah, we now have at least at least the number that I've seen documented, over 70 Girls of Travel members around the world have gotten the Girls of Travel logo, which is like this heart plain logo. They've put it somewhere on their body. And yeah, every time that happens too, I am just amazed. And the way that some people have done it, like they've done it with different colors, or one of the GLTers wrote Girls of Travel in Braille underneath it. Another one,
Wow.
and then they put it on different places. We had a trip that was in Alaska where we had, I think, 6 GLTers get the logo at the same time. So it's been a lot. It's crazy.
Well,
And I don't have any tattoos. So everybody keeps asking me, like, when are you going to get it? I have thought about it, but I have 0 tattoos. So it's only gotten to the thought process for me.
I see. Well, the Braille tattoo raises an interesting point. I know that that GLT aims to be as inclusive as possible, and you have subgroups addressing all kinds of travelers and potential travelers. Are there really reluctant travelers whom you've gotten out in the world through encouragement through one of these subgroups?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, the community at large can sometimes be intimidating because there are so many people in the community. Comments can flood in extremely fast.
Mm-hmm.
So being in a subgroup, which we actually have 10 subgroups at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and they're topic-based subgroups. We've tried to do location-based subgroups more on like events, and we'll do meetups for location-based connection. But topics is what we keep as a full-blown subgroup for everybody to connect with one another. And those will be things like moms and pride. And we have a women of color subgroup, and we've got a curvy girls subgroup, and we've got ones that are for over 35. And then our newest one has been really well received. It only started a few months ago, and that is a points and miles subgroup to be able to empower people to feel more supported with going through that entire gamut of using points and miles.
Are you enjoying Well Traveled with AAA? Subscribe to this podcast today and share your thoughts on ratings and reviews. You mentioned that you have met up with community members all over the world. Have they met up with each other, and what are some of the best stories you've heard about that?
We've had the full spectrum and gamut of amazing stories where people have connected and things have gone great.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately, we've also had some instances where people believed because they met somebody through GLT, but they didn't vet them more, that they've been scammed. And we found out about it and had to remove and block somebody, but not before like money was lost. And so I think that moving forward with people that are looking at online communities such as Girls of Travel or any type of online community, trusting your gut, great to meet up with people in person, but best to try and do a video conference call, use Facebook for videoing to connect with each other, to know that you feel comfortable before kind of going to that next step as well.
Well, that's a really interesting segue to the final question that I wanted to ask you today, and that is, what does well-traveled mean to you?
I think that that's really changed for me over the years. I think when I was younger and I had more of the ambition when I was younger to be a country counter, to go and explore a destination unknown. But I'm really fortunate that now, as I have evolved with Girls of Travel and I have been able to travel to so many places, it's more about the people that I'm meeting up with than it is even the destination that I'm going to. Obviously, I want to go to new destinations and see all the things that I haven't seen. But I think that a person can be well-traveled even if you haven't got a passport, or even if you are only able to do a small trip a year. That doesn't mean that you're not well-traveled. But for me, to continue to be well-traveled, it's to not think about so much where to next as it is, who am I traveling with next? And who am I going to go and see next? because those memories, I might be able to see the Colosseum time and time again in my future, but I might not be able to go and meet up with Brandy in Rome and go and scoot around. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between it now.
Right. Well, thank you so much again for sharing your wisdom and experiences with us. And we'll look out for you on the road.
I appreciate it. I look forward to traveling with any of you guys, meeting up with you. If you see me, tap me on my shoulder, and I'll be excited that I'm meeting you wherever you are in the world. And until then, safe travels to all of you.
You can find all of our interviews with other travel experts from around the world on the Well Traveled with AAA feed on iTunes and Spotify. We hope you'll rate us or leave a comment and let us know what you think. I'm Abby Kozolczyk. Thanks for listening.